Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Elaine Thompson and I'm the Regional Market Development Manager at Ontario Tech. I have worked for the university for just over 3 years now, and I'm here to share with you my knowledge on the university, our programs, scholarship, fees, kind of all the things that you probably want some answers to, and the information that you need to know before deciding to apply to our university. So we can go ahead and get started here. I'll just let you translate that bit, maybe Carmen first.
Okay, la Universidad de Ontario Tech University es una universidad que ofrece cursos de universitarios para los estudiantes internacionales. Infelizmente no ofrece cursos de posgrado o de máster para international students. Perdona, de máster hay algunos, pero porque nosotros tenemos también convenio con la Doctors College, que queda dentro del campus de Ontario Tech University. Entonces, allí sí ustedes podrían hacer su posgrado. Los másters de la Universidad de Ontario Tech no los podemos ofrecer ahora, pero porque esta presentación es sobre los cursos universitarios. Okay? Thank you, Elaine.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the land acknowledgement, as is Canadian customary to do. So Ontario Tech University acknowledges the lands and people of the Mississaugas of Scugog First Nation. We are thankful to be welcomed on these lands in friendship. The lands we are situated on are covered by the Williams Treaties and the traditional territory of the Mississaugas, a branch of the Greater Anishinaabe Nation, including Algonquin, Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi. These lands remain home to many Indigenous nations and peoples.
Sí, Ontario Tech University está localizada en Oshawa, que es una de las ciudades, digamos que en donde existen comunidades de indígenas canadienses, así como Mississauga, Ottawa, Potawatomi o algo así. Entonces, Oshawa es igual. Entonces tenemos un respeto muy grande por la comunidad indígena que vive en estas regiones. Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Ontario Tech. So we are a relatively small Canadian university in comparison to other Canadian universities. We have 10,000 students on campus, which sounds relatively large, but in comparison, that is quite a small university. And we are known for our small, tight-knit community. So we are located in Oshawa, Ontario, 45 minutes outside of Toronto. And we are a STEAM-focused university, which means we focus in the sciences, technology, engineering, arts, and math-based programs. We'll talk a little bit more about our areas of studies and our programs in a second, but we offer just over 50 undergraduate programs, which again is a relatively small amount compared to other universities, but that is our niche. It's what we focus on and it's what we do really well. We're obviously a tech-based university, and we are situated in a technology hub city in Oshawa. So essentially what that means is that we integrate technology into all of our programs with our modern facilities. We're basically setting our students up for the modern field that they will be going into in the 21st century. As you can see here, our engineering, business, and IT programs are ranked very well internationally, with our engineering programs being 9th in Canada. We also are ranked really high for reputation, for our library, as well as our research dollars. So obviously our focus is very much technological related fields.
Okay, La Tech University tiene un ranking muy alto. En reputación, por ejemplo, es la primera en el área de tecnología. Además de eso, está también rankeada entre las primeras universidades en Canadá, en nivel internacional también, y en Canadá. Además de también poseer algunos rankings buenos, por ejemplo, en otras categorías, ¿no? Como library o scholarship, que es la tercera universidad que más recibe más recibe dinero para research, para hacer pesquisa, ¿no? En la universidad. Entonces, eso refleja mucho en las nuevas instalaciones, en los laboratorios, todos súper bien equipados con la más alta tecnología, que es justamente el foco de la Ontario Tecnología. Thank you, Ilan.
So like I mentioned before, these are areas of study. Again, they are all STEAM and tech focused areas. And we'll talk a little bit more about all the programs within each one. But if one of these fields is something that you or your student are interested in, this is what we specialize in. It's what we do really well, and it's what we're known for.
Esta es la lista de los cursos que Ontario Tecnología ofrece a nivel de licenciaturas, ¿no? Entonces tenemos ingeniería, negocios, medicina, salud, computer, computación, ciencias, educación y social y humanidades. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more specifically about our individual programs now. So we'll start with our business area of study. Like I mentioned before, this is a very highly internationally ranked area of study. There's a few different programs you can take. So whether you're interested in math and crushing numbers and calculations from accounting to finance, or a more creative field of study like marketing. Our business program, you do 2 common years of business. So you will learn a little bit about each of these fields, and you can kind of figure out what you're really interested in and then specialize in that in your upper years. You'll see on the right-hand side here, we make a note that we work with over 300 companies for our experiential learning opportunities. I'll get into the specifics of what each program offers for experiential learning in a couple of minutes, but always good to see that 100% of our students in this program participate in experiential learning. So that means hands-on relevant work experience that they can put on their resume and that they will hopefully be able to utilize to get a job when they are done the degree. Before we get too far into these, I do just want to mention that these are all 4-year undergraduate degree programs. So they are all honors bachelor degrees.
Okay, este es la primera área de estudios que ellos ofrecen, que sería el área de negocios, y es un programa de 4 años. Por lo que ustedes ven aquí, se cubre contabilidad, comercio, finanzas, administración de salud, marketing, recursos humanos y tecnología management. Además de eso también existen intercambios, o sea, convenios con empresas, más de 300 empresas que tienen convenio con esta universidad para ofrecerle a los estudiantes la posibilidad de hacer internship o co. Y 100% de los estudiantes salen con esta experiencia. Al graduarse van a recibir pueden colocar inclusive en su currículum esta experiencia práctica con las empresas que están afiliadas para ofrecer a los estudiantes internship o co. Thank you, Lana.
So our next area of studies is computers and technology. So if you're interested in programming, coding, web design, user functionality, user experience, these are definitely programs that you want to look into. So our most popular program in this area is, of course, our computer science program. In this program, you can focus on the back end of programming and coding, or the front end of digital media, web design, user experience. So it does give you both sides of how you actually create something like a mobile app, but then also how a user would utilize that app and what improvements it would need in order to have the best functionality possible. So that one does have both specializations there with data science and digital media. This is also where our game development program is situated. So if you're interested in games, you can kind of see in the background in this picture here. That's our game development lab. So if you're interested in gaming, that's certainly something to check out. We were the first university in Ontario to have that program. So we're well versed in what it takes to create successful students coming out of that one. And then if you're interested in IT or networking and IT security, things like cybersecurity and hacking, we do also have a hackers lab as well. It's not pictured here, but that's a very cool lab that we have as well. So that's just a few programs within that field of study.
Ok, en el área de computación y tecnología tenemos todos estos programas, como el Ani mencionó, se cubre todas las áreas en programación y en web technology. Entonces, ustedes van a ver desde el backend hasta el front-end developer, y van a poder también especializarse, por ejemplo, en digital media o en data sciences, y combinar esto con user experience para poder sacarle más provecho a los programas de web que ustedes van a desenvolver. Además de eso, tenemos cursos en el área de cybersecurity y technology management. Y todos estos programas también igual ofrecen prácticas en empresa, con 100% participación de los estudiantes en estas prácticas con la industria. Y ustedes están viendo aquí el lab de Computer Game Development, que fue el primer curso a ser lanzado en Ontario, en esta área, fue en la Ontario Tecnología, y ya fue diseñado para trabajar con alta tecnología. Ustedes pueden ver aquí que están haciendo 3D gaming development con 3D virtual 3D, ¿no? Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay, so this field of study works a little bit differently. So these programs are specifically if you're interested in becoming a teacher. That could be anywhere from 4-year-olds to 17-year-olds. It really just depends where you want to specialize. So you can see we have a primary junior option as well as an intermediate senior option. These programs are a bit different though, because it's a degree that you do on top of your 4-year undergraduate degree. So you have to have a 4-year undergraduate degree to enter this 16-month Bachelor of Education program. But when you graduate, you are fully qualified to go ahead and teach in the school system.
Este programa es bastante interesante para los que quisieran trabajar como profesores en Canadá, se necesita tener un degree o un curso hecho en la universidad o en la licenciatura en cualquier área. Puede ser biología, puede ser ingeniería, puede ser, no sé, marketing, lo que ustedes ya hayan completado, pero que además de eso tengan interés, por ejemplo, en ser profesores trabajando con niños o con adolescentes en high school y en donde ustedes van a aprender las nuevas tecnologías para educación a distancia y bueno, bueno, hay muchas otras formas tecnológicas de educar, ¿no? Este curso solo es de 16 meses, ¿no? O sea que es menos de un año y medio. Oh, perdón, es un año y medio. ¿Ok? Thank you, Leanne.
Okay, so on to our largest and most popular field of study is our engineering. This is the cornerstone of our university. It's what we're known for. As you can see on the right-hand side, we're ranked 3rd in Ontario and 9th in Canada as one of the best universities to study engineering at. We have 8 different engineering programs that we offer. We have the only nuclear engineering, automotive engineering, and manufacturing engineering programs in Canada. We have a comprehensive engineering program, which is this option here. So if you know you want to be an engineer, you want to study engineering, but you're not sure which field you want to get into, you can apply directly for this program. And then you can decide which one of these you want to go into following your first year. So software engineering, similar to computer science, but you're just focusing on the software and hardware components of that field. Mechatronics engineering is a very popular one as well. That would be robotics and learning about artificial intelligence. Nuclear engineering is also very popular as well. So that's learning about nuclear energy. And we actually have a direct partnership with a major nuclear power company called Ontario Power Generation. So we have a great partnership with them. A lot of our nuclear engineering students end up going to work for OPG, is what they're called, Ontario Power Generation. And then the only other one I'll note here is our mechanical engineering degree is a combination of electrical, manufacturing, and software engineering. So if you are interested in these 3 areas here, the mechanical engineering degree is really great because it brings all of those together into one degree program.
Bastante interesante estos programas de ingeniería. Son bien amplios. Se pueden especializar en cualquiera una de estas áreas. El área de ingeniería es la especialidad de Ontario Tech University. Está entre los top 5 del ranking cursos a nivel de Ontario y también el top 10 en Electrical Engineering en Ontario y el tercero como la mejor universidad para estudiar ingeniería en Canadá. Bueno, además de eso, bueno, los cursos son muy peculiares porque el foco es en tecnología y por ejemplo, ella mencionó Nuclear Engineer, que es uno de los programas que no es muy común en las universidades, aquí lo tenemos. Está bastante bueno porque tienen ellos un convenio con la Nuclear Power Technology en Ontario, el Nuclear Power Energy de Ontario. Y parece que todos los estudiantes también pueden hacer sus prácticas en esta empresa. Además de eso, hay una combinación, por ejemplo, Mechatronics, en donde ustedes van a poder usar una combinación de mecánica con electrónica e inteligencia artificial. Y bueno, software engineer con todo lo que es relacionado a internet, tanto de desenvolvimiento como de analytics, y el manufacturing engineering, bueno, mecánica engineering en la área de tecnología, por ejemplo, es una buena combinación, y además del automotive engineering. Entonces hay bastantes opciones aquí en el área de ingeniería, y todos estos pues también igual son muy prestigiados. Thank you, Lynn.
Okay, so our next area of study is medicine and health. Obviously, throughout the pandemic, this has been a massively growing field. So we have added a new program to the list here, which is health administration. So it's specifically someone who would do administrative services within hospitals or other healthcare facilities. So that's quite a growing field, as you can imagine right now. So we've added that program in this year. This is also home to our life sciences program, which is our pre-med program. So if you're interested in medical school, life sciences is a really great option for that. It's the most popular, but it's not the only one. You can also take integrative neuroscience or general health sciences, and you could get into medical school within Canada. You would meet the requirements. If you know you're interested in neuroscience and that's the field you want to go ahead and study, this is a really great program. It's a combination of life sciences, psychology, and biological science all into one. So it's a very good comprehensive program. And the only other one I'll note here, because I'll talk about a few of these in a second, is our nursing program. Very popular. It's one of our competitive programs, along with computer science and kinesiology as well. So if you're thinking about occupational therapy or physical therapy as a career, you'd want to be looking at our kinesiology degree here.
Okay. Aquí en el área de salud y medicina, tenemos estos programas de licenciatura, y varios de ellos te pueden ayudar a que consigas después en el futuro hacer tu curso de medicina si lo quieres hacer aquí en Canadá. Generalmente el curso de medicina, como es una profesión regulada, tiene que ser hecho cuando ustedes ya sean PIA. Pero antes de eso, ustedes tienen que tener un curso, un degree o una licenciatura en algo relacionado a la salud para recién hacer medicina, ¿ok? Aquí en Canadá. Todos estos programas son de excelencia, cursos que en otras universidades no lo encuentro. Por ejemplo, Integrated Neurosciences es un curso muy novedoso, además de otros cursos, por ejemplo, en Foreign Sciences, Biotechnology, y de los más competitivos son el nursing, que es uno de los más competitivos para las matrículas, así que en esa parte nos podemos ayudar con los detalles para la matrícula. Estos también ofrecen scholarship, y además de eso es el número 1 en programas de licenciatura en el área de medicina en Ontario, esta universidad. Thank you, Eliana.
Okay, so this is obviously our largest area of study for program-wise. So there's quite the list in front of you. I've mentioned a couple of these already, but I do want to note our marine biology program is brand new this year. So that's something new that we're offering. And this is where all of our traditional sciences are. So if you're interested in biology, chemistry, or physics, or maybe potentially a combination of a few, like chemical biology, these are really our traditional sciences. And math, applied and industrial mathematics as well. And there are a few specializations within these. So within physics, you can specialize in astrophysics, because I know that's very popular. And then the chemical biology is a specialization of biological science. There's also another specialization in biological science is environmental biology. So if you're interested in sustainability and that area of study, that would be a very interesting program for you as well. I'll also note our forensic science degree. It's a very popular one. So forensic science basically is studying all of the traditional sciences from a forensic lens. So our students do actually work a lot in our crime scene house, where we put out mock crime scenes, and students go in there, they collect samples of blood, DNA, everything that you could think of that would be at a crime scene. And then they actually bring them back to the lab to study them and figure out what happened at this mock crime scene. So we're one of only 2 forensic science programs in Canada that's fully accredited by the National Board. And we're one of only 3 forensic science programs in Ontario. So yeah, that's a little bit about the sciences.
Aquí, bueno, aquí ustedes pueden ver las especialidades en el área de ciencias, cursos en el área de ciencias de esta universidad es bastante grande. Cursos que no los encuentras en otras universidades, por ejemplo, nanotechnology, clean energy, chemical biology, o sea, una combinación de química con biología, astrofísica, o biotecnología, o neurosciences. Todos estos cursos son bastante avanzados y estaba comentando también sobre el forensic chemistry o forensic physics o forensic sciences, que es bueno, una especialidad para trabajar con patología de los cadáveres, ¿no? Entonces se colectan muestras y se hacen análisis y todo eso. Esta área de ciencias tiene bastante, o sea, bastante ranking y es bastante buscado, entonces solicitado. Por eso es que es competitivo. Y tenemos también 82% de los estudiantes que consiguen empleo en menos de 6 meses graduados aquí. Thank you.
Okay, and our last area of study is our social sciences and humanities. Our biggest program for this area is our criminology and justice program. This entire area focuses on everything from why a person would commit a crime, and that would be our forensic psychology degree, everything from that to going through the legal and justice system to trial, conviction, and the rehabilitation process. So these would be programs like legal studies, political science, information law, any of the legal programs, again, criminology and justice and forensic psychology. You can see from this list of programs here that we really do focus in that area. I do also want to just note our communications and digital media studies program. That's very similar to a journalism program, but because we have the digital media studies in there, it is almost a combination of journalism and marketing, but digital marketing because of that digital piece there. So lots of different programs in this area. If you're interested in a few of them and you want to kind of take courses in multiple different programs, you definitely want to look at our liberal studies degree because that one's kind of a make your own degree. You can pick and choose which of these areas you wanted to specialize in.
Bueno, esta es la última área de programas que la universidad ofrece, Social Sciences and Humanities, que sería en ciencias sociales y humanidades. Hay una variedad de programas aquí excelentes. Uno de los que ya mencionó es que, por ejemplo, puedes hacer comunicación con digital media o con digital marketing, porque tiene el componente de tecnología ahí. Y también desde, desde el área, por ejemplo, de psicología, de legal studies, o sea, vas a estudiar programas o especializarte en programas que abarcan pues desde justicia, con aprehensión y defensa y bueno, y preparación para involucrar a esta persona en la sociedad. Entonces, además de eso, pues hay cursos como Liberal Artes o Liberal Studies, perdón, en donde puedes escoger dos o tres programas de estos para darte una idea global de varios, prepararte mejor, ¿no? Tal vez en varios programas de estos y tener una idea más global. Pero al final, si quieres decidir por cualquiera una de estas especializaciones o especialidades, pues está aquí la lista en el área de ciencias sociales. Y además de eso también ofrece el número 1 en el área en Canadá, en el área de ciencias sociales y de humanidades con de grants. Grants significa dinero que la universidad recibe para hacer proyectos o para hacer research. Entonces, con estos programas vas a poder hacer prácticas en la empresa y poder usar esas prácticas con los mejores laboratorios, la mejor tecnología y poder usar esto en tu resumen para poder conseguirte un buen empleo. Entonces, todos estos programas encuentras tú en ellos cómo hacer tus prácticas, tu internship, y eso va a ser muy útil para ti en tu carrera profesional. Thank you, Lani.
So like I mentioned a bit before on the previous slide, we have guaranteed hands-on or experiential learning opportunities in every single one of our programs. So over on the left-hand side of the chart here, you can see all the different areas of study. And then up at the top are all of the different experiential learning opportunities. There's different names for a lot of different opportunities up here, but they all essentially mean a co-op or a hands-on work experience where you either work independently for a company or with a company, or in the case of a capstone project and a practicum, you work with a group of students. So it's you and a few of your colleagues, and you work with a business to solve a problem that they are having. There's also research and undergraduate thesis opportunities for students who are thinking of doing graduate school. This is a really great opportunity because it's something to put on their CV when they go to apply for their master's program. So this is just a nice little chart to show you all of the different opportunities that there are in each of the different areas of study that we have.
Okay, siguen las prácticas de todas estas áreas de programas que ofrece la universidad. Me parece a mí que el 90% de ellas tienen o una forma de prácticas, puede ser capstone, que son prácticas en grupo, o internship, o prácticas en placement, o research. Todo esto son programas de prácticas en empresa, que les va a dar a ustedes una carta de recomendación y les va a dar, lo pueden usar para su currículum. Y, por ejemplo, los research programs, estos son para los que quieran, por ejemplo, hacer un máster en el futuro. Les va a servir también para eso. Entonces, thank you, Elena.
Okay, so we're just going to start to go over a little bit about the process once you have applied to the university, what our requirements are and what that process looks like. So we base all of our admissions decisions solely on your academics as well as your English language proficiency. And I'll get to the English language proficiency part in just a second. But essentially, if you are still completing secondary school, high school, we do require your interim grades or the grades that you have up until that point. If you have already completed a degree or secondary school, we will require your final transcript. So just a couple of dates to keep in mind once you've gone through the application process. The deadline to apply for our competitive programs. And again, our competitive programs are nursing, kinesiology, and computer science. That deadline is January 31st. And this timeline is running on a student who would be interested in starting in fall 2022. If you're interested in winter 2022, certainly put a question in the chat box. That process is a little bit different. It's a little bit quicker, and it's one that you would need to get started very soon because of the study permit and visa approvals. But assuming that you're interested in fall 2022, the deadline for competitive programs, January 31st. The deadline for our major entrance scholarship, it's called the Global Leadership Award. It's February 24th, and I'll get into that in more detail in just a couple of slides. The deadline for all of our other programs is March 31st. So that's a very important one to keep in mind. You have to have applied to the university by then for equal consideration. The deadline to apply to residence and to accept your offer is June 1st. If you apply by June 1st, you're guaranteed a spot in our residence. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple of slides. July 17th is the document deadline for competitive program applicants. And then August 14th, again, of 2022 is the deadline for non-competitive programs. And that's a deadline, sorry, to have all of your documentation to us. So that includes your English language proficiency, as well as your final transcript and any other outstanding documentation that we may require.
En esta parte, bueno, yo les puedo ayudar con las matrículas, ¿no? Aquí tenemos un pequeño resumen de los deadlines para tenerlos en cuenta. Los programas competitivos son nursing, o sea, enfermería, computer science y kinesiology. Y estos son programas que hay que aplicar a más tardar hasta final de enero. Y si vas a aplicar para cualquier otro programa, el deadline es a final de marzo. Si quieres aplicar para un scholarship, como el Global Leadership, será pues hasta febrero 24 y la residencia hasta junio 1, para que consigas un spot o un lugar en septiembre 2022. Thank you.
Okay, so just to touch a little bit more on the English language proficiency piece, again, we need this as well as your transcripts, your grades as well. So this is the only other requirement that we have. You need to show proof of English language proficiency. If your first language is not English, you need to show proof. You completed our English for Academic Purposes program, which I'm assuming probably is not the case for anybody here. If you have completed 3 years of full-time study in English as the first language, you don't need to do this. And then you also, you would need to achieve one of the required proficiency scores. So if English is not your first language, you haven't completed our EAP program, and you have not studied in English for more than 3 years, you will be required to do an English language proficiency test. And I will get to the tests and their scores on the next slide here.
Ok, aquí es para decirles que tenemos para las matrículas tenemos que tener un un comprobante de proficiencia del idioma de inglés. Entonces, si es que, por ejemplo, tu lenguaje nativo no es inglés, hay que tenerlo. Si tú no tienes un curso, por ejemplo, hecho en Estados Unidos o en algún país de habla inglesa por más de 3 años, también es obligado a tener este comprobante de inglés. Y bueno, aquí hay más adelante en el próximo screen, vamos a mostrar cuáles son las pruebas de cómo puedes probar tu nivel de proficiencia en inglés. Thank you, Lana.
So if you're required to do one of the English language proficiency tests, these on the screen are all of the ones that are accepted by the university. The most popular ones are IELTS with an overall score of 6.5, no subscore less than 6. And you'll notice education and nursing do have a higher requirement for each of these tests. So for IELTS, it's a minimum of 7, sorry, an overall minimum of 7. We do accept Duolingo because I know that is a newer one. So the university does officially accept Duolingo with a minimum score of 110. Again, education and nursing a little bit higher with a minimum score of 120. Another common one is TOEFL. So you need a total score of 83, or education and nursing do require a minimum of 87 for that one.
Ok, aquí está la lista de las pruebas reconocidas internacionalmente para hacer matrícula, ¿no? En este caso, Ontario y Tecnología te piden, por ejemplo, para entrar directo 6.5 en IELTS, no menos de 6 en cada categoría, y para programas competitivos como educación y enfermería serían mínimo 7 en IELTS. En el TOEFL sería mínimo 83 para la mayoría de los programas, menos en los competitivos, que son educación y enfermería, sería 87. Y aceptan también Duolingo. Entonces, para la mayoría de los programas, 110 mínimo, o 120 para los programas competitivos. Thank you.
Okay, so if you do not successfully get one of the minimum scores that we just previously outlined, you can still get admission into one of our academic programs based on your grades. And you would get a conditional offer based on your successful completion of one of our English for Academic Purposes programs that is held within our English Language Center. So these are only the start dates for English for Academic Purposes programs. They're not the start dates for our academic, but I did just want to note that for any reason, if those scores aren't met on an English language proficiency test, you can still come to the school, you can complete an EAP, or an English for Academic Purposes program, and then you would start in your academic program. So it is still doable to come to campus, start in our English Language Center, and then transfer over into your academic program.
Okay, aquí tenemos una explicación sobre cómo funciona nuestro programa en la Universidad de Ontario para los que no tienen un nivel suficiente de inglés para entrar directo. Entonces, esto se llama Pathway, ¿no? Y te ofrece la carta condicional, en donde va a decir que tú eres admitido al curso tal desde que completes el curso de inglés en el nivel avanzado que se nos requiere para entrar en el programa académico. Dependiendo del resultado de tu nivel de inglés en las pruebas oficiales, vamos a ver cuántos meses de inglés ustedes van a necesitar hacer antes de entrar al curso académico. Y así hacemos la carta condicional. El precio del programa de inglés está a $3,067 por cada 2 meses. Okay, entonces, no, solo con el resultado de un IELTS, un Duolingo, un TOEFL, vamos a saber cuántos meses de inglés te tocaría hacer antes de entrar al curso académico, pero ya te damos la carta condicional con la cual ya puedes hacer tu lista de estudiantes. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, so now we'll talk about the fees for our academic programs. So the total cost, including your program tuition, residence, and a meal plan, would range from about $38,000 to $52,000, depending on your academic program. Just below that, those totals are, sorry, those are in Canadian dollars and they're per year. So you'll see the breakdown of the cost depending on what program you're interested in. With our allied health sciences, arts, education, and nursing programs being on the more inexpensive side of things, ranging all the way up to our engineering degrees, being about $34,000 Canadian per year. So again, that cost is for the entire year. It's not per semester. We do have 2 semesters throughout the school year, but this cost is per year. And that cost is actually broken down into 2. So you pay half in September and you pay half in January. And again, Canadian dollars and per academic year.
Okay, estos son los precios para international students, estudiantes internacionales, ¿no? El costo por el año entero, incluyendo residencia y meal plan, o sea, comida, está entre 38,860 a 52,089. Y aquí abajo, si quieres ver solo el tuition, o sea, solo cuánto cuesta el programa en sí, lo vas a ver aquí abajo. Entonces, ves que los cursos del área de educación, salud y ciencias sociales están a 26,500 por año. Y el más alto es el de ingeniería de 34,616 por año. Ok, Elena.
Okay, so the big question is, what are our scholarship opportunities? So we have 2 different types of scholarships. We have an application-based one and automatic scholarships. So the application-based one is our major entrance scholarships. It's the one at the top called the Global Leadership Award. It's valued at $18,000 Canadian per year over 4 years. So that's for a total of $72,000. And like I mentioned, it is application based. So you do need to fill out a short application. It's not too long. It's about 5 different essay questions. And you need to show us what extracurriculars you were involved in, what was your community involvement, essentially what are your leadership skills, what have you learned over the past 4 years of doing high school or secondary school, how you're going to take all of that and bring it and apply it at the university. We also have automatic scholarships, so our awards of recognition and our in-course scholarships. If you meet the minimum average requirements, you can receive these scholarships following your first semester at the university. So these are not given to international students coming into their first semester. They're based on your university grade. So once you've completed your first semester, you may be eligible for one of these scholarships. These ones are per semester. So for in-course scholarships, that would be $1,500 per semester. Comparatively to the cost of your tuition, this is kind of a small help with deducting that cost, whereas the Global Leadership Award, depending on what area of study you're interested in, it may pay for most of your degree. So those are the 2 different types of scholarship options.
Bueno, hablando sobre becas, las becas de entrada son las que vemos aquí abajo, dependiendo del porcentaje de aprobación o de buenas notas que el estudiante tenga en su secundaria, ¿no? Ya recibe de inmediato. Entonces sería 1,000, entre 1,000 hasta 4,000, dependiendo de las notas que tenga en su secundaria. Y también por scholarship, por GPA, entonces esto es cuando ya el estudiante está en su segundo semestre de estudios, se puede aplicar también para eso. Igual el Global Leadership Program se puede ofrecer al completar el primer semestre, dependiendo de sus demostraciones en leadership comunitario y de las actividades que haya hecho en su propio país. Entonces, no es una cosa muy difícil de conseguirla, pero si tienen alguna actividad donde demuestre que ustedes son leadership en su comunidad, eso les va a ayudar bastante a conseguir una beca después aquí en Ontario Tecnología. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just talk really quickly about what your life would actually look like living in Oshawa, and then we'll get to our residence on the next slide. There's just some really nice images of kind of what the city looks like and our campuses. So this is actually one of two residence buildings that we have on campus, this building here. And then you'll also see that we have lots of outdoorsy Canadian things centrally located to our university. Things like the beach, going for hikes in the park, and of course, checking out, because we are Canadian, the ski resort. And there's lots of other things happening around the campus. If you are interested in shopping, you might want to spend the day at the Oshawa Center. It's one of my favorite malls, so I highly recommend it. And of course, lots of cafes, restaurants, and lots of other things to do around Oshawa.
Estas son actividades que ustedes pueden hacer en la propia ciudad de Oshawa. Estando aquí como estudiantes, pueden en el downtown pueden encontrar restaurantes, shopping malls y actividades culturales. Y fuera del downtown ustedes van a encontrar, por ejemplo, playas, áreas de tipo parques, ¿no? Áreas verdes, en donde pueden hacer hiking y también en el invierno pueden hacer esquí. Entonces, hay mucha actividad, no es una ciudad aislada ni nada, tiene todo tipo de entretenimiento, así que se van a sentir bastante bien. Y además, la ventaja de que Oshawa queda apenas a 45 minutos de downtown Toronto. Entonces, también si quieren pasear por Toronto fin de semana o coger el tren y para Toronto y volver el mismo día, no hay ningún problema, solo 45 minutos de viaje. Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, so just very quickly, we have two different residence buildings on campus. I mentioned before, if you apply before June 1st, that's guaranteed a spot in residence. Most international students do want to stay in residence, at least for their first year, while they get situated within Oshawa as well as the university. So two different residence buildings, South Village and Simcoe Village. The South Village one, the far left image and the middle image are pretty similar. So they both have their own bedrooms with a study area within their bedrooms. These are full walls. I know they look like partial walls, but there are full walls. You can shut the door, have your own study area, your own space, and then you share kitchenette, dining, and bathroom with one other person. The costs are on the bottom here, and this was included in that total average that I mentioned before. The only thing I want to add on here is that for South Village, you do have to have a mandatory meal plan, and the meal plan is $5,000 Canadian per year. Again, these are all in Canadian dollars, and they're for the entire year. And then the far right suite style is what we call a hotel style room. So it does have a small partition wall that separates the two bedrooms. But again, you get your own study area, kitchenette, dining, and bathroom, and it's all only shared with one other person.
So, Eliani, these prices here are in Canadian dollars, right?
Yes, they're in Canadian dollars.
Okay. Entonces, aquí ustedes ven los tres opciones de residencia que se ofrecen a los estudiantes. No se olviden que para conseguir un lugar en la residencia hay que aplicar hasta el más tardar junio 1. Y estos son los precios, ¿no? El más pequeño es uno que no tiene divisoria entre los dos, las dos camas, ¿no? Esta es una habitación abierta, tipo un estudio con un baño, y está a 6.420 para 2 personas. Y las otras dos opciones un poco más caras, entre 7.780 a 8.240 en Canadian Dollar. Son más privados porque tienen una divisoria entre de 2 habitaciones, ¿no? Dentro del small apartment, del apartamento pequeño. Y además de este precio, ustedes pueden escoger también pedir el plan de comida, que le llaman meal plan, de $5.000 al año. Este es el precio anual, ¿ok? De las instalaciones de la residencia. Thank you.
Okay, so just to wrap things up, and I do apologize for the overlapping font here, but just to wrap things up, that's essentially our story as a university, as a tight-knit community. So we asked our students what their story of Ontario Tech was, and this is some of the feedback that we got back of why they chose Ontario Tech. So everything from modern facilities, because we're only 20 years old, we do have very updated and modern labs, classrooms, and study areas, to small class sizes. So our average class size is about 20 people in seminars and labs. So you do really get that one-on-one time with your professor. To our experiential learning opportunities, like I said, guaranteed in every single program. So that's great for the success of our students. To affordable tuition, we are one of the cheaper universities in Ontario. So yeah, lots of different reasons why students chose Ontario Tech, and hopefully one day we'll be able to add your recommendation to the list there.
Ok, ya estamos llegando al final. Este es solo para recapitular las ventajas de estudiar en Ontario Tech University. Es que tiene 20 años de existencia con instalaciones bien modernas y laboratorios excelentes, con alta tecnología, porque la universidad es enfocada en el área de tecnología, además de tener la mejor reputación en esta área, tanto en Ontario como en Canadá, y tener rankings muy altos en el área de tecnología, medicina, en research, en laboratorio, bueno, en todo esto, ¿no? Entonces, además de eso también los programas son pequeños, las salas de aula son pequeñas, digamos que 20 alumnos por sala de aula. Esto da bastante facilidad de ponerse en contacto con el propio profesor. Y para concluir, pues el tuition o el precio de los cursos de los programas es uno de los más baratos que hay en Ontario, ¿okay? Con respecto a universidades. Entonces van a tener la ventaja de poder conseguir también prácticas en empresas, ya que la universidad tiene sus convenios con la industria. Así que carta de recomendación y prácticas en industria ustedes la van a conseguir al final de graduarse, y esto les va a ayudar a conseguir empleo en el futuro. Ok, entonces vamos a pasar a la sección de preguntas, que ya tenemos algunas aquí. Las voy a ir leyendo. Elani, we have a question here.
Yeah.
Good evening. My question to Elani is, I have a university degree in business administration. Could I apply to health administration program?
Yeah, certainly. So it would still be another university degree, and it would still be a 4-year program probably. You may be able to get some transfer credits, more so like a handful, maybe not even a handful. So you could get some transfer credits into the program, but you would still be looking at doing another 4-year degree program.
Gracias por la pregunta y creo que el amiga lo respondió bastante bien. Fiorella está haciendo una pregunta recién ahora, me parece. Yeah. She would like to know if the courses in administration, if there is a course, 2 years program in administration, Alana.
No, there's no 2-year options, only the 4-year degree options for us.
Yeah, the only one that is 1 year and a half will be the education program. For that one, the people need to have that degree, right?
Yes, yeah, you're correct.
Okay, el único programa Fiorella, que la universidad ofrece para los international students a nivel de posgrado, digamos, y que es de corta duración, es de educación, que es de apenas 1 año y medio, son 16 meses, ¿ok? Yo voy a compartir mi tela para que ustedes tengan mis contactos de teléfono y esto. Déjame puedo verificar aquí. Ahí. ¿Están viendo mi tela? Do you see my screen?
Yeah, yes, I can see it now.
Okay. Okay, there is one more question here. I am a psychology, clinics psychology, and I'm working with education. Do you offer this program to this area?
So sorry, just to clarify here, looking for psychology programs or education programs?
No, she's already graduated in psychology, and
Okay.
she's working in education. And she would like to know, probably the education program will fit to her. She's a psychology.
Yeah, so as long as that psychology degree is a 4-year bachelor's degree, then yeah, she would qualify for our Bachelor of Education.
Okay, Johanna, sí. Si tú tienes ya un degree o una licenciatura en psicología y trabajas con educación, perfectamente puedes aplicar para el curso de 1 año y medio, de 16 meses en educación. Y con eso puedes trabajar como profesor aquí en Canadá. Okay. There is another question, Elani. Jeff asking, hello, I have a university degree in civil engineer, and I would like to do a post-graduation program related to construction project management. Is there any option in this new engineer area, post-graduation program?
So there isn't in construction project management. We don't have any postgraduate programs related to that. I can put the
Durham College, right?
pardon?
Durham.
Yes, I can put so that's the website for all of our programs, and all of our postgrad programs are listed on there. I don't recruit for our graduate programs, so I can't tell you too much about the process of getting into the programs, although I do know that they are all thesis based, which means that you have to line up what you're interested in with what our researchers are currently studying. So it is a very different process than our undergraduate programs, but they can see a full list of our graduate programs by copy and pasting that link.
Ok. Bueno, Jeff, si tú estás interesado en post-graduation programs, o sea, en programas después de graduado, ya con licenciatura, hay otros programas que la universidad ofrece a nivel de posgrado o de maestría en este link que ella colocó acá. Pero ya no se hacen estas matrículas a través de la undergraduate, son otra forma de matrícula. Y también quería comentar que en el college de Dalton College, que queda en el campus de Ontario Tecnología, sí tenemos ese programa de Project Management, Construction Project Management también. Entonces, cualquier cosa, pues te doy más detalles por email, ¿ok? Well, we have it almost down here. I guess that there is no more questions. I would like to say thank you to Elani and all of you. Quiero agradecerle a todos, a ustedes, por estar participando de esta conferencia y especialmente a Elani Thompson de la Ontario Tecnología. Y vamos a dar por finalizada la conferencia. Y bueno, pues muchísimas gracias por participar y hasta la próxima. Bye.